Today, we have another interview in action from the conferences that just happened down here in Miami and Orlando. My name is Bill Russell. I'm a former CIO for a 16-hospital system and creator of This Week Health, a set of channels dedicated to keeping health IT staff current and engaged. We want to thank our show sponsors who are investing in developing the next generation of health leaders: Gordian Dynamics, Quill Health, Tausight, Nuance, Canon Medical, and Current Health. Check them out at thisweekhealth.com/today. Here we go. All right, here we are from HIMSS 2022, and we're here with Chris McCann, the CEO and co-founder of Current Health, now a Best Buy health company.
Yep, that's right.
Looking forward to this conversation.
Me too.
We have a lot to talk about. So where are you in from, first of all? You have an accent going here.
I do. I know it sounds like I'm an American, but I'm originally from the west coast of Scotland, but now live in Boston.
Is that where Current Health originated?
Yeah, so I was a med student, started the company in Dundee, which is about an hour north of Edinburgh. Our first office was in Edinburgh, but now 90% of our business is in the United States market, although we still do really well within the United Kingdom with the National Health Service.
So Current Health, for those who aren't familiar with it, is remote patient monitoring, telehealth, patient engagement solution. Am I capturing components?
You're right. We try and solve the technical infrastructure logistical gaps in how any healthcare organisation delivers care into the home to any population. So be it a hospital home population, be it a chronic care population, we bring all of the technology, all of the infrastructure, all of the services necessary to help them do that. And that includes things like remote patient monitoring, but also analytics, integration to the EHR, kind of everything in a one-stop shop for them to deliver outside of bricks and mortar.
So if a health system is looking to progress in this space, and a lot of them are looking to progress in this space and really advance their home health capabilities, both for, we had discharge during COVID, we were trying to care for patients, we have age in place that we're trying to do as well. If they're looking at a program like that, you sort of plug into the EHR on this end, and
yeah, I think so remote patient monitoring was the kind of big thing in 2020, but RPM is one of the gaps in how care is delivered into the home. It's not the whole solution. So we tried to build out the whole platform and all of the physical services. So how we get kit into the home, how we install it, how we support the patient. We provide our own clinical command center to give clinical oversight of the patients on behalf of our partners. And we're that interface, if you like, between the patient and the provider in the EHR.
So you have devices that go into the home as well?
That's right.
What kind of devices are we talking about? What are you monitoring for?
So anything. We're unusual in that we're both device agnostic, and we have our own proprietary wearable, which does continuous monitoring of a patient's vital signs, so things like their SpO2, their respiratory rate. But our goal is to deploy whatever devices make sense to the home for that patient's condition and risk level. So we're trying to provide one almost unified window into the home. So whatever that patient's condition is, we will monitor what is relevant for that patient, but then get that back into our analytics so we can say this is the patient who needs some action to be taken.
So I mentioned some use cases. Talk to me about some of the use cases you saw prior to the pandemic and maybe how those changed as a result.
Yeah, so I think pre-COVID, most of our work was in transitional care, and that makes sense. That's where the financial model generally in the United States allows some level of innovation. There's an incentive to shorten length of stay, there's an incentive to avoid readmissions, it's good for the patient to go home faster. I think during the pandemic, we saw much more focus on avoidance of hospitalisation in the first place, and that's continued with the CMS acute care at home waiver, which hopefully is about to be extended. And for me, that's the truly impactful model, because now we're not just kind of trimming around the edges, we're actually saying how do we move the whole care model into the home? How do we never have that patient come into a bricks and mortar facility? And that's where we see most growth today, but also long-term chronic care. We're seeing a lot more interest from hospital systems in longitudinal management of their populations long-term to avoid long-term cost.
Is there anything we need from a policy or reimbursement to drive this?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that holds back care at home right now is policy and reimbursement. The acute care at home waiver from CMS is a temporary waiver for the duration of the public health emergency, which may expire shortly. There's a bill in the Senate right now to extend that for another 2 years. So that needs to happen. It's one of the most transformational things to happen within healthcare for the last 2 decades. But bigger than that, I think payers and government need to do more around reimbursement and more around alternative payment models to really incentivize more care into the home. It's really rare that we get a chance to do something that's better for the patient, better for their outcome, better for their experience, and cheaper at the same time. So we need to push that further.
You would think we'd have enough information now to, to analyze it and look at it and say, hey, this is good. Not to mention the fact, this is what patients want. In a lot of cases, they're saying, hey, you know what? We had to care for my father-in-law towards the end of his life, and you almost feel trapped in the home because you're caring for him, and to have a solution like this that's partnering.
And honestly, the data that we see shows that patients aren't just as safe in the home, they're safer in the home in many cases than the hospital. And this isn't about taking every patient out of inpatient facilities, it's about saying that there's a percentage of care that we deliver in bricks and mortar facilities that could be better done in the home. It's a safer place for the patient, and it's a better outcome for the patient, and it's a lot lower cost.
All right, so Best Buy acquires Current Health. That was huge news. Best Buy had broadcast that, hey, we're Best Buy Health, we're getting into healthcare. This is a major part of our strategy. But it seems like that announcement, more than any other, sort of catapulted it into the consciousness, and people go, okay, Best Buy Health. Why does this make sense?
Yeah, so honestly, when I announced it to our team, I think a lot of them said it must be Chrissy's crazy accent. He can't just have said Best Buy. And all the time we get people say, well, Best Buy, why are they in healthcare? But the challenges that we have experienced over the last 5 years as we've tried to build this company, they're actually physical ones. It's how we get into the patient's home. It's how we get the 85-year-old who doesn't have a smartphone, who doesn't have home internet. How do we get him or her connected? How do we make sure that if they have a technical problem, it's not the nurse, it's not the physician, it's technical support that's dealing with it in the home. And as an organization like Current Health, that's really hard to scale. But Best Buy is already doing that nationally. They're a trusted brand for it. And to me, that was an incredible capability that we could bring into our solution. And that's what made it so powerful for me.
Yeah, when Best Buy said they were getting into health, I talked to a couple of CIOs because we did a hospital at home program, and we had to train people, hey, you're going to go into homes, and there's all sorts of things. There's all sorts of legal things as well. We had, at a previous company, I sent techs into a home, and they got harassed by the homeowner on things. I mean, there's just so many things. And then when we put these devices, we put medical devices in people's homes, they would move them around, they would use them for different things, they would break.
Absolutely.
And so it kind of makes sense. And when I talk to the CIOs, I'm like, look, this is not a capability. You look at this capability and say, oh, this is no big deal. This is a huge deal.
100%. And especially here at HIMSS, like there's so many companies talking about like really sexy technology, like artificial intelligence and IoT and so on. And these things are super cool. Honestly, I've spent more of my time in the last 5 years just figuring out how do we get internet access into a patient's home reliably, repeatedly. And those are the barriers that actually prevent us truly doing care at home nationally. If you're going to take a patient out of the hospital and put them home, you need to make sure you have connectivity there. You need to make sure that you can solve a technical problem. It's super hard to solve.
So Best Buy has 3 pillars. I'm not going to remember them, but I know one of them's aging. But it all centers around the home being the locus of care.
That's right.
Not necessarily taking everybody out of the hospital, but those that it makes sense, moving them into the home.
So they're trying to transform the home into a site of care. They're trying to be an enabler of healthcare organizations to do that. So they're trying to use what they're good at to help healthcare organizations deliver care into the home. And that's across consumer health, which is getting every device, every sensor, every wearable into Best Buy stores and making it easier for patients to access and buy those. Active aging is about helping seniors age in their own homes, and then virtual care is about how do we better connect patients to their physicians. But it's really along a continuum from health and wellness all the way through to sickness, and how do we follow that patient across that journey.
So there's been a couple of acquisitions by Best Buy to carry those devices. Are they still branded as Current Health devices if you go into a Best Buy?
Yeah, so we don't sell, we don't retail our devices in a Best Buy store. We are entirely healthcare organization focused. Certainly the active aging side of Best Buy Health retails some of the Lively products in Best Buy stores. But we're more about how do we use the physical capabilities Best Buy has to better deliver for our healthcare customers. We are still entirely B2B. We're focused on the enterprise.
So you're looking to have conversations with health systems who are looking to do this?
And that all of our customers are hospital systems, pharmaceutical organizations, large payers. That we focus on that group.
So what are you looking to get out of HIMSS?
I think I was at Vive last week. It was amazing to see everyone in person again. Unbelievably strong attendance from payers, healthcare organizations, pharma. I think we're just excited to meet more hospital systems, pharma, payers who are interested in delivering more care into the home. I think, in my experience, most healthcare orgs in the US want to deliver more care into the home. They have that as a strategic goal. But doing it is a whole other thing, and that's where hopefully we can help them go from 0 to 1.
I love these interviews. If people are wondering, why are you interviewing Chris? It's CIO told me, you have to talk to this company, you have to look at this company, this is great stuff. And anytime a CIO tells me that, I always make the time.
And Brett Oliver at Baptist, he was our first customer in the United States. He had vision about what we were trying to build at a point where we had very, very, very little. And that faith and trust he put in us and his vision of where he wanted to take things at Baptist was instrumental in us growing this business.
Fantastic. Chris, thank you for your time.
Thank you for your time. Nice to meet you.
Another great interview. I want to thank everybody who spent time with us at the conferences. It is phenomenal that you shared your wisdom and your experience with the community, and it is greatly appreciated. We also want to thank our channel sponsors who are investing in our mission to develop the next generation of health leaders: Gordian Dynamics, Quill Health, Tausight, Nuance, Canon Medical, and Current Health. Check them out at thisweekhealth.com/today. Thanks for listening. That's all for now.